everyone, welcome back to another round of Connections with Art. We're going to play Connections for August 21, 2023. Let's hit the play button and hope that my screen and everything is going to be formatted nicely. Let's get rid of the instructions. We know how to play this game, don't we, guys? And look at that. That looks pretty close to perfect. Yeah, we're fine. That looks perfect. Okay. Now, before I start reading these guys, I'm going to be completely honest. Oh, I am really, really tired. We have a huge test coming up on August 26th, the SAT. They offer it at the end of August for a lot of seniors so that they can try to get it out of the way before school starts. And as you can imagine, I have a ton of students that are getting ready for this test. And, I put every ounce of my fiber into the lesson because, these kids, their futures are riding on this test and I want them to ace it. So I'm a little burned out. And this is sadly what caused my demise 2 weeks ago when I lost Wordle, because I was so fried I couldn't even think carefully. So get ready, guys. We could have another 0 here, in which case I'm not going to be a happy camper. All right? All right. So here we go. Let's read these off. Whew, I'm really tired. Crush, Montana. Squirt, Kansas. Utah, Mug. Start, Sprite. Rush, Arizona. Yes, Nevada. Hawk, Genesis. Colorado, Soprano. All right, that's an interesting motley of words. Wouldn't you guys agree? Now, the first issue I see here is that it was almost too good to be true, but we've got too many states to reconcile, okay? We've got Montana, Kansas, Nevada, Arizona, and then they threw in not just one more, but 2 more with Colorado and Utah. So that's going to be very annoying. We have to figure out how the heck we're going to deal with that. I mean, geographically, they're all kind of similar, maybe with the exception of Kansas, but I'm definitely not ready to commit off of that, because even Montana, Utah, Arizona, Nevada, Colorado would sort of look like mountain states. Yeah, I can't commit to that. I mean, I'm not going to take a guess. All right. So let's hold off on those, but we definitely have a state category. But it's not going to be enough just to say states, okay? We have to, define them properly to get the point. Now, Genesis, I see something pretty cool here. I think I see some 80s bands, which I can definitely relate to since I'm a child of the 80s. We've got Genesis. We've got Rush. I don't think there was a band called Crush. Oh, we got Kansas for sure. Oh, that's great. So that gets rid of a state, which is cool. I didn't think Kansas belonged anyway, just geographically, but now we can certainly remove it. I just hope that there's not an extra band. Yes, there's not. Okay. And these others are not bands from the 80s anyway, okay? So I think we can call these 80s bands. Oh, now, guys, ready? I think we're going to, it looks like there's going to be a very strong participation level for September where we're going to introduce the team connections competition. However, and I know some of you might not be thrilled about this, but we have to do something to just kind of like ratchet it up a notch, so to speak, especially for people like Aranya, because he's going to, continue to dominate, and whoever gets him, whichever team gets him, is going to be extremely fortunate. I think we have to introduce an extra point, okay, where if you get them all in the exact difficulty, so you have to start yellow, green, blue, and purple, you get an extra point, okay? I think that makes it a little bit more challenging, and it's also kind of like, sometimes it's pretty cool to be able to predict not necessarily the correct answer, but the most popular answer, okay? Which is actually, if you think about it, that's how Family Feud works, right? That's how Family Feud works. So my point is, before I go ahead and hit these, I want to, so this is actually makes it more challenging because now you can't just hit that automatically. You want to make sure you can reconcile the other 3 categories and then put them in difficulty order. Yes, I think it's going to make it a little bit more challenging, but I think it'll make it more rewarding. And the worst that can happen is if you decide not to do that, if you want to boycott the extra, let's call it the color coding sequence. If you boycott that, you just won't get the point for that, okay? But you'll still get all the other points that you normally would. All right, I do want to introduce that, guys. I think it'll make it really fun. Some of you might think it's arbitrary, but trust me, it makes it cool. It's very satisfying to see them organized in the exact coloring from yellow to purple. Well, the question is, will these 80s bands be in yellow? Could I start with that? So here's the other categories. We know we've got some states, okay? And I don't think they make it, I don't think the difficulty is based on the degree of overlap. I think it's just based on the category itself. So states will be the easiest. So I'm not going to hit this yet. I think this might maybe be second or third. Okay. So before we hit this, let's take a look at the other categories. All right, I see. I think I see it. So we've got, so these look like, whatchamacallits. How do I want to call it? Soft drink brands, something like that. Sodas, you could say. Yeah, maybe just sodas. You've got Mug, which I believe is a root beer flavor. Oh, and so now Arizona could fit in there. Let me just have a little water, guys, okay? I've been talking all day. Just need a little water. I love Arizona iced tea, by the way. I absolutely love it. It is delicious. It's probably the best iced tea brand out there. If you haven't tried it, please do so. So you'd have Mug root beer, Arizona iced tea. Squirt, I think, is one of those kind of like a, well, sort of similar to Sprite. Oh, shoot. And then, oh, you'd have Sprite. But then I think there's also Crush, like Orange Crush. Oh, no. Okay. Whoa, 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 whoa. So we have, so the Arizona. Okay. We have to be careful. So we've got overlap in the drinks, but I'm 100% confident that'll be the other category. We'll just call it sodas. Yeah, because they're all sodas. We got rid of Kansas, so we have to basically, shoot. Okay, so here's what we ask ourselves. If Arizona were to go there, would the other states work? Montana, Nevada, Colorado, and Utah. They would, actually. They would. So now let's think about this. If we do that, we'd have Montana, Utah, Nevada, Colorado. We already know we've got the 80s bands locked up. That's all set. Then it would be really cool, wouldn't it, guys, by the way, to have like an option to click to click these and make them different colors so that way you could keep track of them all. All right, but then we would have Crush, Mug, Arizona. Yeah, hang on, I'm losing my track of thought here. What did we say to do with that Arizona? Oh, to say that it belongs with the drinks. Right. So these could be mountain states. I think that's how you would classify them. They're in the mountain region of the U.S. But here's the problem. We still have Crush, Mug, Arizona, Squirt, and Sprite. So that means that we have another category that we have to reconcile to figure out what the heck to do, which involves Soprano, Hawk. Soprano and Hawk for sure. Oh, I haven't even thought about Stark. Stark. Ooh, I'm starting to get an idea of something here. Okay, I think these are these. I think I got it. I think this is a name category. I have to be really careful here. This is a name category. Oh shoot, wasn't there a? So basically, my thinking is this, guys. I'm almost certain that Soprano, is that show, the Mafia show, the Mafia family, and I think the main character is Tony Soprano. So I'm thinking that we could have some famous Tonys here. I think it's Tony Hawk. Is a famous skateboarder from, like, I don't know, maybe like the 90s. I think we would have Tony Stark. I sort of feel like he's one of those. Didn't Robert Downey Jr. play him in the Avengers? Okay. In other words, is Tony Stark just like the character, the fictional character for, what does he play? I don't watch them, but isn't it Iron Man? Something like that. Oh, okay. I think we get rid of another state. Say hello to my little friend. Yes. Tony Montana. That, of course, was Al Pacino playing him in probably one of the best movies ever, Scarface. Oh, shoot. Okay, so I think we've got and I think there's only 4 of them. So let's see. We've got Tony Montana, Tony Stark, Tony Soprano, and Tony Hawk. Okay, so there's your Tonys. That got rid of Montana. Okay, so let's just think about this carefully. So that gets rid of Montana. Kansas goes with the 80s bands. That means we do have our states reconciled. Because it means that Arizona no longer can be with the drinks. So it's going to be, if I get rid of these, the drinks are just going to come down to Crush, Mug, Squirt, and Sprite. And Arizona then will go with the states. And those states that we're left with would be Arizona, Colorado, Nevada, and Utah. Okay, perfect, which I think are still mountain states. I would call them mountain states. By the way, guys, if you just say states, that's not going to cut it. You won't get the you won't get a 5th point. Okay, you have to name every category correct in order to get that 5th point and not burn any guesses. All right, so here we go. So we have them. We have them. I think we've got this thing locked up. Now, to get the extra point, which we're not going to award now. We'll do this when we hit September. Is I want to see if I can get them in the right difficulty level. I think the states will be first. Again, I don't think they base it off of the overlap. I think they base it off of just the nature of the category as a standalone category. Yeah, that's got to be first. So let's say mountain states in yellow. Pow! Pow! We nailed it. Mountain states. Okay, good. All right. Excellent. Now, what's next? We don't have any of the hidden words, do we? Yes, we do. We have a hidden word. We've got the Tonys. Okay. Hidden word, Tony. Hidden name. I usually say that that's the one that tends to be last, unless there's something like menacingly harder than that, which I don't think there was. Okay. I would probably say it's a toss-up. For green, it's going to be a toss-up between the beverages and the 80s bands. I'm going to go with beverages. You know why? Because my thinking, and I think this makes it fun, guys. Okay, thinking this through like this, I think makes it super fun. I'm thinking that people of all age groups can identify with these beverages, these sodas, whereas the 80s bands is going to be more like, you know, old timers like me who are in their early 50s. Yeah, so let's go sodas in green. Mug, Squirt, Sprite. Got to be careful here. I don't want to accident because it's not Rush, it's Crush, right? Crush soda. Crush, I think it's an orange soda. Yeah. Okay, so here we go. Sodas in green, please. Pow! All right. Now, we're going to go with arts philosophy. And that is 9 times out of 10, I would say that the hidden word is the purple category. So I think we can go with 80s bands. Genesis, Kansas, Yes, and Rush. And then just to double check, I don't want to make a careless mistake. Tony Stark, Tony Hawk, Tony Montana, Tony Soprano. Okay, so 80s bands in blue, please. Pow! It's automatic, guys. It's locked in. Come on, you have to admit, getting them in the correct difficulty order is super fun, okay? And it forces you to get everything organized from the outset, which actually might improve your chances of, you know, getting them correct. So I think it's a win-win. And these, of course, are Tonys. That's locked in. Tony. Give me Tony in purple, please. Pow! Absolutely crushed it, guys. Look at that. Come on. How satisfying is it to go in the exact order of the rainbow colors from yellow to green to blue to violet? Yes, indeed. Woo! Shit, that took a little bit of time. Okay, guys. But it was worth it. Come on, you have to admit, the entertainment level is pretty high. Now, having said that, how are people going to do? It's always good to do a little bit of a post-reaction. It was actually hard, okay? I didn't see the categories immediately, especially the Tonys. That took some time. Here's the deal. I think this is going to be very troublesome, especially for the non-US folks, okay? Having 6 states is extremely evil, and and being able to reconcile both the Kansas and the Montana in slightly obscure categories, if you're not up on your 80s music and your famous Tonys, that's going to be really tough. So I think people will burn a couple guesses to try to get those, okay? By the way, guys, again, I'm not going to accept states. That's too obvious. You have to make sure you use mountain. Shoot. Now I have to decide about Western because they are technically in the West, but they're definitely mountain states. I mean, because they have mountains in them. right? There's a difference. Just because you're in the West doesn't mean that it's mountainous. So I hate to say it, but I'm going to require mountain or something of that ilk in order to get the point for that category. Okay, I know you might think that's a little bit of a hard ass move to make, but and I'm not doing it just because I got it, guys. But you have to admit, like, you have to classify it properly. You have to classify it properly, so it has to have mountain, basically. Okay, yeah, it has to have mountain. All right, so yeah, so I think it's going to be a tough one. Okay, will I make up some ground on some of my competitors? Yes, I think I might. Okay, I think I might. Like, for instance, let's think about the 12-year-old prodigy, otherwise known as Cable Wire. He's not going to know the 80s bands. Give me a break. He's not going to know those unless he just happens to enjoy soothing 80s music. Okay, I don't think he's going to know these Tonys. That would be, I mean, he might get Tony Stark. He might be an Avengers fan. He might know the soda brands. So the issue is going to be with these states. That's what's going to cause the most havoc for people. I really feel bad for the out of U.S. state people because that's just like, how do you figure those out? Whew. That's brutal. All right. So congratulations to anybody who absolutely crushed this and got it. Okay. Especially if you're from like the United Kingdom or elsewhere. Let's go ahead and take a look at the results, shall we? I know you guys are excited to see how you're doing. And look at that, okay? I have them all set here. I can actually, I think, enlarge this a little bit. Yeah. Perfect, okay? So, as you can see, I consolidated the spreadsheet because we don't need to keep seeing the results from like 2 weeks ago, right, guys? So I just have the last week, and I haven't had anybody say that there's an error, so that's good. So who do we have in first? We've got Aranye, 28. With a near perfect score of 94 out of a total of 95, okay? He's in first place. The illustrious and the esteemed and the remarkable Martin Steed is in second place with a 90, okay? So I think they're sort of going to be in lockstep with one another, and I wouldn't be surprised if that 4-point differential is maintained through the end of the month. So that puts Martin Steed in second place. Zep Girl is just 4 points behind in third place. Jason is 3 points behind in fourth place. Cable Wire and Salad Von Baco are tied, both with 82s in fifth place. Brandon Baker is in sixth place with an 81. Rise to the Equation, that would be me. I'm in seventh place with an 80. Yeah, this could be a huge boost for me if I could take out Brandon Baker, Salad Von Baco, and Cable Wire. I feel like that would be great. Then I could go from 7th to 5th, possibly. We'll see. And then Pat Merkland is in 8th place with a 77. Ellen Sassani is in 9th place with a 76. Yeah, you see how she was tied, I think, the other day with Edward Collins. So just 1 point makes a huge difference. Edward got a 4, whereas Ellen got a 5 on Friends. And so now that created it. Holy cow, that created a 3-place differential. Okay. Melanie Lee is in 10th place. So congratulations, Melanie. My goal to you would be to keep that all the way through to the end of the month. Okay. 10th place will be super cool. 11th place for Michelle Lamb with a total of 72. Edward Collins in 12th place with the 71. Now let's move up, guys. Yeah, let's move up. There we go. Randy M is tied in 12th place as well. Good job, Randy M. I feel like you're kind of moving up there. Viking 67. Also in 12th place with a 71. Geraldo, 13th place with a 68. Dora A, 14th place with a 64. And now we just move up a little bit more and to look at our next tier of players. And as you can see, I've just sort of like left out the placing. So now this is your true placing, guys, okay? I've left out the placing of the folks that have more or less abandoned the game. So D-Bone Capone, 63 total points with a 15th place. Cheryl is in 16th place with a 61. Ascension is in 17th place with a 60. T. Clark is in 18th place with a 56. Joe, 19th place with a 52. Advanced 495, 20th place with a 51. GeoHuman 21st with a 47. G3 Holiday 22nd with a 46. BMS Houston 23rd with a 39. Connor Clark 24th place with a total of 27, tied with Forsaken. And then App Guy hanging in there in 25th place with a total of 20. And our good friend Mata Muertes is in 26th place with a total score of 17. And there you have it, guys. Yeah, and then the rest are just folks that have, you know, just for whatever reason, right? Hey, things come up in life, and you just can't, you know, keep posting the results every day. So there you have it. That was awesome. Really, really cool. Okay. So again, guys, be prepared. You might want to actually start practicing, but be prepared for the September competition to just include that one extra little element, and that is that you'll get a bonus point if you can put them in the correct sequence from easy to hard. Okay, that's 2 days in a row that I've done it. Okay, basically it just requires a little bit of like some judgment, and I think that makes it fun. Okay, because I also feel like the teams, a lot of people are getting better and better. They've kind of figured this game out, and I think without that extra element, you're going to have too many teams that will be tied for first. That's all. So we need something to kind of like help create a little bit of a rift in the scores. All right, guys. Well, there you have it. I hope you enjoyed. This game is super fun, and man, if it weren't for those 2 zeros, I would be right up there with those top 3 who are absolutely amazing players, aren't they? So give them a little bit of congratulations in the comments. They deserve it. They come in every day. They play this game. They put in their results. They watch the video. And what more can you ask for, right, guys? What more can you ask for? This game is sensational. And I'll look forward to seeing you tomorrow for yet another round of Connections.